Hey everybody, it's Mr. Snake here, coming to talk about you with Kingdom Hearts. Now, Kingdom Hearts is a fantastic game. It is a fun game. It is an awesome game that's combined Disney with Final Fantasy. It is one of the most overrated games you'll see out there. And I'm here to talk about the entire series so far. Now, starting off with Kingdom Hearts 1, because that's the first one I ever played, I have got to admit the story was simple then. It was easy to follow, and it was pretty good actually. Hold on. Much better. I hate it when my camera gets blurry like that. Anyway. The story was pretty easy to follow, and you understood what was going on. These creatures called Heartless came along, and you gotta defeat them. Travel from world to world, each world had its own story to go on. It was really simple story, you didn't have too much to understand. Now, things in the sequel, Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, and that is a legit sequel, and I'm calling it that, was also a pretty easy game, good story, and a nice space. Now, originally I never got Chain of Memories, and the reason for that was because I thought it was just the Game Boy Advance version of Kingdom Hearts. Literally, from all the footage I saw, even from the trailer shots, I didn't really see anything that was different from this game and the next. Into that, so I really overlooked it, and it really is a pretty good game actually. I would recommend it. One of the best Game Boy Advance games you buy that even actually has an entire song put into it. Now, that's actually pretty hard to do. Back in Game Boy times at least. And the story here is, well, continuation from where you left off in Kingdom Hearts. Actually, you know what, I think I better go into more detail about Kingdom Hearts' story. In Kingdom Hearts, you're a boy that's named Sora, and you're trying to find supplies and materials to make a raft. Excuse me. Once you finish getting all the supplies, an incident happens where your world gets destroyed actually. And you're now stuck, and you're now stranded on another world. You then meet two characters, Donald and Goofy. And then you go traveling from world to world. Eventually you meet the main bad guy at a place called Hollow Bastion, and that's really the only next significant step outside of Netherland. And the story really is pretty good, and it's simple to understand, and it's really actually pretty decent. It's a very fun game. It is one of the most recommended ones on the PS2 actually. I recommend it. It's pretty fun. Now, Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories story takes place, actually probably right after the first game. You're in this unknown world that really had this castle in it that you visit to. And in this castle you relive the events in this world through different styles. And here's one problem I do have with the game. All the bad guys, the majority of the bosses, are the same from the last game. I am not joking. Guard Armor from the first game is the boss for Traverse Town. Hades is probably one of the few bosses that you actually fight that wasn't the original boss of that world. I am kind of glad for that one, and he was not too hard. Let's see. Captain Hook was the boss for Netherland again. I mean, in a later game it became Peter Pan. That was actually very unique, I admit that. And in this one, all the bosses are the same. That's one problem I have, that are inside the world at least. And sometimes they would even skip over bosses. Like, I didn't even fight Maleficent, I fought Dragon Maleficent. It's like, you know what? If you're gonna give me the old bosses, at least let me fight. At least let me be able to fight most of them. I mean, I would love to see how they would make Maleficent than Dragon Maleficent. I mean, that would be awesome. Granted, Hollow Bastion would be a harder world for having 2 bosses, but heck, it was that one of the harder levels in the entire game, the last one, so go for it. Now, another thing I do like in Chain of Memories was Riku's story. For the first time ever being able to play as Riku. That was really unique as well. Riku's story that, after the events in Kingdom Hearts 1, I'm not really going to spoil too much. Riku somehow manages to make it to the basement of Castle Oblivion, and he has to light up the floors while fighting off his inner darkness, which he doesn't want to consume him again. That is actually a pretty good story, and it is the shorter of the 2. Granted, the rooms are longer in Riku's storyline, but if you were to ask me which ones I could explain quicker, it would be Riku's story. And the bosses are still the same. For Pete's sake, just get original Kingdom Hearts. Yeah. That's one problem I have with Chain of Memory of the bosses. Another thing I really dislike actually was that boss for Riku, which this is spoiler alert. Actually, you know what, I'm not gonna talk about him. But I really like both that bosses. Like, for one, it's not the main bad guy in the series, but you don't even know who the main bad guy is. If they really introduced Xemnas in Chain of Memories, that would have been really great. But all you really know is that it's an organization, and you really don't even know the ranks until you don't know really any of the ranks until you get to Riku's storyline, which his dark database tells you where they are in the ranks. The only major hint of where you get the main antagonist, Marluxia. Marluxian? Is that how you pronounce it? Marluxia? I don't know. It's pronounced weirdly in the game. Is it number 11, which you don't even figure out who number 12 is, and Vexen, who is number 4. Those are the only ranks you get in Sora's storyline, and you don't really figure out any of the ranks until you do Riku's storyline, where it's in the database that he tells you, like actual number 8. Okay, so on to the next game, Kingdom Hearts 2. This is where the game's story can get a bit confusing sometimes. First off, you start off by playing as Roxas, and you mysteriously and the photograph you have taken is mysteriously gone missing. So then you go out looking for it, getting a job. It takes place within 10 days, and out of all the stories, this is probably the most complicated. Is my nose sunburned? Wow, I think it is. Huh. Like Rudolph. I just noticed. How do I? Okay. So that's just silly of me. It's the sunglasses that make my nose look. Oh, it is sunburn. Oh, well, that just. My glasses actually amplify the redness. I mean, pretty silly looking actually. Anyway. Kingdom Hearts 2, the story does get a bit more complex, but it's still relatively simple to follow. It does get complicated at times, which I didn't like. I mean, in the first 2 games, you could follow the story easily, and you understood what was really going on. And the gameplay for Kingdom Hearts 2, vastly different than Kingdom Hearts 1. And to be honest, I kind of do like that. I mean, well, also some of the time that Kingdom Hearts 1 was like, not just Kingdom Hearts 1, Kingdom Hearts 2 is like press a button, do a combo, press a button, do a combo, destroy like 3 Heartless in 1 move. But Kingdom Hearts 1, you really did always did the same thing. On Kingdom Hearts 2, you could switch it up by switching your combo attacks. That was actually very unique, and it's something I haven't seen in a video game yet. Like in most sequels, it honestly plays similar very similar or identical to the first, while Kingdom Hearts is very similar but is also very different from the first, which is something you don't see often in a game. Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memory gameplay was obviously different because it was for the Game Boy Advance, and you can expect that to be different. But for two games on the PS2 to be similar yet vastly different, that is a very unique accomplishment to get done. Oh, I just remembered something, like the remake of Kingdom Hearts 1 in HD collection, or something like that. The Kingdom Hearts 1 is a remake of Kingdom Hearts 1 and Chain of Memories. Actually, it's Re-Chain of Memories for the PS1 for the PS2 as well. Which is what I'm gonna get over, that the Re-Chain of Memory does not look as good as Chain of Memory does. If I would recommend the two, I would recommend you look up the cutscenes in Re-Chain of Memory because they're better. But I believe, but to me, it looks like Chain of Memories on the Game Boy Advance looks more fun than Re-Chain of Memories. But to take the entire Chain of Memories and put them on a console, that was nice of them to do. I mean, I don't think it looks as good as Chain of Memories, but Re-Chain of Memories is really nice, and it even has an additional boss fight that I really would have loved to see in Chain of Memories. Zexion, or however you pronounce the name, the illusion guy. And I would really love to see what he could have done, and I kind of did get to see that in Re-Chain of Memories. Anyway, to get back on topic, after Kingdom Hearts 2, which honestly I don't think I can explain the story too well to you guys. It's not simple like Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, but it still has its easy point to follow. Anyway, let's move on to the next game, Kingdom Hearts 3.256 Days Over 2, I believe is how you pronounce it, and let me just tell you, out of all the games that didn't need to be made for Kingdom Hearts, it's that one. I believe that one came with the first one made, and then Kingdom Hearts recoded or coded, and then Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. But out of all the games that were made, Kingdom Hearts 3.56 Days Over 2 was the one that didn't need to be made yet. Okay? In most case scenarios, I really am gonna stand by this one, because in later games, you see a character, Xion, and in all honesty, she is one of the few video game characters that cried when she died. That made me cry, or almost cry. Dang nabbit, these things don't make water. Loved to cry when she died. Anyway, and I really would have love to see the 3.456 Days Over 2 happen later on in this, when they were made, instead of happening like directly, like it doesn't really introduce anything new to the story except that you're gonna want to get Xion back, and it's a nice little placement between the stories of Chain of Memories, Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2. It's a really good placement. Now the reason why I would prefer Xion, that actually this game happened later on when they made it, like they made it later, is because Xion, and she shows up in other games in the Kingdom Hearts series, and I would much rather have her be a mystery than knowing what her story is. And just every time I see her, when they show her, I want to yell at the top of my lungs to show me what. Just continue the story already. I want to find out what happened to her. While if she stayed a mystery, I would be really looking forward to seeing the game that she pops up in. Now, the story for 3.56 Days Over 2 is that Roxas has joined the organization, and they send him on various missions. And in the end, he ends up leaving them. It's go back to the simple storyline, and it doesn't really add too much complication to the story outside of Xion herself, which really just make people just want her to be back. But yeah, they could have ended the story there, but they didn't. Next up, the next game would be Kingdom Hearts Coded, which was for the iPhone. And to be honest, I've never seen it, played it, and I'm not going to bother much with it, so I'm going to go with Recoded, which is a remake of that for the DS. And this game wasn't really needed necessarily either. I mean, it all was another retelling of Kingdom Hearts 1. Yeah, isn't that a brilliant idea? Another retelling. Oh my god, they're so brilliant with the exact same bosses, the exact same fights. I mean, the only different one was like Pete is in there, and I gotta say that one of my most favorite bosses of all time is actually in that game, and it's in Hollow Bastion, but I'm not gonna spoil it. But out of all the games that were made, this one was the least needed. Or the second least needed. Well, actually, yeah, the least needed. There aren't too many events that happen that you don't really need to know. In fact, it explains why Mickey sent that letter to Sora, Kairi, and Riku, but I really could have gone on with the story without this game. I mean, I didn't even know what really happened in the end besides Sora needs to find these people, which could have easily been summed up in the next game. Like, Mickey does some data, finds out that there are people trapped in Sora's heart, and they mention that, and he sends him that letter. And that's why he sent him that letter, like he figured it out through some mysterious way. And then, like, not Birth by Sleep, Drop Dean Distance, they could have done that. They could have explained how Mickey, like he found research and like he found where the people are located, and they actually do that at the end, but for the love of Pete, this game really isn't that needed just so they can explain why Mickey sent that letter. That's really the only reason why they actually added that in, and it doesn't really make much sense to me. The game is still fun and I would recommend it. It has one of my favorite bosses of all time. And the new ways to fight the bosses are pretty fun. Like, instead of just going with the traditional way of how to fight them, they really did make new ways on how to fight these bosses, and they're really fun to do as well. Now for the next game, Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. Now this one is a prequel to the game. One that was really needed. And when this one was made, they need to make another prequel. This game does seem pretty fun to me. I don't own a PSP and I probably never will, so I'll probably never own this game myself. But out of all the three games, having the three different storylines is really good. The one problem I had with the game and the story though is like Aqua to that person to visit all three places. That's not even a joke. It's Terra, it's like the first and second, or Vent the first and second in all three areas. The Cinderella world, Vent the first one, then Terra, then Aqua. In the Maleficent world, it's Terra, Ventus, and then Aqua. Why does Aqua get that last world? I mean, here what they should have done was like make Aqua visit this world first, then Vent, then Terra. Not this way they made it. It doesn't make much sense to me. It's really confusing. Like, what was Aqua doing this whole time while being the last person to get to these worlds, and why haven't the other two managed to be fighting that one creature in Hollow Bastion? It doesn't really make much sense why they operated it like that. I don't remember the next few worlds. Like, I think Aqua becomes like second in a few of them, and Terra becomes third, but I think Vent's like always like usually the first or second one to visit a world. And the only one that actually has all three of them visiting at the same time is actually Disney Castle, where Mickey comes from, which I don't remember its name. That's the only world where all three of them visit at the same time. The game also explains when Maleficent recruited Pete and so on and so forth on how she isn't dead. Now, the game looks pretty fun. It has an interesting map boss, and the last story does also look pretty fun as well. And it does tie into the other games pretty well. And it does explain a lot, but it also begs the question on answering some of these that they don't actually answer. Literally, I had to go to the Wikipedia to get some of the answers that I really wanted to get. Now let's go for Drop Dream Distance and Out of all the Kingdom Hearts games, this one looks the most boring to me. Especially when it doesn't even make any sense. I mean, you got True Grit, and that's supposed to be like a prequel level to Tron. Okay, but it's based off of the Tron movie, the live action one. And even though the characters do look like their live action counterparts, why on earth is this here? It makes no sense whatsoever, especially considering that there's two different stories going on. Tron has become a bad guy, which I honestly haven't seen the movie, and this game does not really want me to see the movie. And yeah, just True Grit had the most questions out of all of them. It's the most confusing world out of them all. Another problem with the Kingdom Hearts series are the level select. Like, if you want to, like in the original Kingdom Hearts game, you could visit any world you want, but here's the order you're supposed to visit them in. Traverse Town is the first one by automatic choice. The next, well, not automatic choice, automatically. The next choice you get, you're supposed to go to Wonderland and Olympic Coliseum, then Deep Jungle, then Agrabah. Excuse me. I can't remember. I believe it's Atlantis next, which you get swallowed by Monstro first, and then you're supposed to visit Netherland and then Hollow Bastion. This Chain of Memories, its system is a lot easier to follow. You didn't need to really make any picks. All of the stories were the same, and the story didn't become confusing, which was actually a downside to the game because yeah, it doesn't. Then in Kingdom Hearts 2, I don't remember what levels you're supposed to pick at all. All I know is that the first level you're supposed to pick is Mulan's World. Actually, no, I think it's Beast Castle, then Mulan's World, then the next one, then the Olympic Coliseum. Okay, that's simple enough. Then you go to the other ones, and yeah. And usually they tell you which ones you're supposed to visit with the star levels and how tough they are. In Drop Dream Distance, though, the walkthrough I watched literally went out of order. Like, the first world you're supposed to visit to is Pinocchio's, not the Hunchback of Notre Dame's. Which makes it confusing when Xemnas pops out and Sora isn't really surprised, but when Sora's in Pinocchio's world, he is surprised. That really makes it confusing, and I like it when you can choose the levels you go to, because in Kingdom Hearts 465 Days Over 2 and Recoded, you can't do that, which I find just bull. Just really a bull. But in this game, they really kind of dropped the ball on it. Like, certain events would happen, like in Kingdom Hearts 1. Wonderland's definitely the first place you go to, because that's where Sora learns how to keyhole thing. But in Kingdom Hearts Drop Dream Distance, they really do mess this up when they introduce Xemnas and Pinocchio storyline. Like, if you went to True Grit, then Pinocchio storyline, and they managed to have different cutscenes, but depending on the order, that would make it better. Actually, that would make it really superb. That's something that Kingdom Hearts lacks, if what they do that. And that's something that really needs to get done. Kingdom Hearts Drop Dream Distance also seems like the most boring game. And like I said, boring. It just seemed boring to me. I mean, it never really got me interested. The biggest world I wanted to go play in was, because it was there, was the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and it really messed that world up quite a bit. Another world I did like to see, was Phantasma, and in the original Kingdom Hearts game was meant to have it, but they never did. That's why Chitterbog is a boss in the world that never was. But Phantasma was really a world that I would love to stay in, yeah. All the other ones never really caught my interest. I never seen the Three Musketeer movie. I never seen the Tron Legacy movie. The Pinocchio one only takes place in one part of the movie. Oh yeah, that's another problem I have with the games. Of when the part of the movie they're taking place in. In Wonderland, you generally get the Wonderland area near the end of the game when Alice is on trial. Okay, I guess that sort of makes sense because there's not really too much you could do beforehand, or there's not too much you can even do in the real world. So I understand why in that one, but here's in the Olympic Coliseum one, Hercules is only in the Coliseum. It's actually happened way after the movie. However, this one was also done well. Most of the movies are done pretty well, actually. The Pinocchio one in Monstro only takes place in Pinocchio, which I found wasn't done too well, actually. Along with another one, man, only taking place on Hook's ship. I mean, I would love to travel across the island, but actually Hook's ship was done pretty well because of the story they incorporate into it and what's going on. The first Kingdom Hearts game really did do a good job with the world system. This Chain of Memories, it's okay. I mean, there's not really too much they could have done, especially with the limitations of the Game Boy Advance. And number 2, Kingdom Hearts 2, the world's one of the worst worlds in my opinion is Port Royal. And that one only takes about one part of the movie, I mean, and it doesn't even have the majority of the characters, and that's a problem I have with that world. While in other worlds like Agrabah, they really did make the sequel and they're trying to bring back Jafar. Again though, there's really only like one part where they do actually follow the story of the movie, and they even bring back the Abysmal, that's the guy that brought him in. And to be honest, the characters they take out, I would actually love to see them in a Kingdom Hearts game. I would love to interact with them more. And they really dropped the ball on this. I mean, sometimes they do these roles very well, like with Lilo and Stitch, how all happening before the events of Lilo and Stitch. Now that was unique, that was done very well, and honestly, I don't think they could have done it any better. While other worlds like Port Royal are like literally just one scene from the movie, and they really just dropped the ball on that one. Now, whenever they do after events and or prequel events, those are usually done pretty well. Like the Lilo and Stitch one. Granted, it's happening really just at the beginning of the movie, and I would love to see what they would have done on the Lilo and Stitch world. But with all that said and done, it's still pretty good with it. However, when they just take one aspect of the movie, that's when it sort of goes downhill. Like Halloween Town. Halloween Town actually happened before the Nightmare Before Christmas movie. And the first time in the first game, and in the second game, it actually it's actually the event of the Nightmare Before Christmas. That makes no sense to me because I already killed Oogie Boogie in the first game. So, what's the point of reenacting the events in the movie? Like the second time, when you visit Halloween Town in the second game, they sort of messed that up as well. And these games are not really that bad. I mean, another bad world is Pinocchio's world in Drop Dream Distance, only occurring in like one part of the movie, and they even put Sora underwater without a mermaid suit. Don't ask me why. He just breathes underwater now. They even set up a Muggle shop, and Muggles are affecting business down there. Go figure. Some parts they just take like one small part, and I can tell, like even in the Tron Legacy one, I could tell they only took a small part for Sora, while the larger part was given to Riku. And it's just, and when these two characters are like literally fighting side by side, these people, and it's really interesting to see on how these events connect. But in some cases, they really do mess it up. Like in the Hunchback of Notre Dame, you don't really see any of the events. You get Quasimodo says Sanctuary, but it sounds off, doesn't sound like Quasimodo, and there's not even a crowd. I mean, if they kept the events closer to the movies when they happened, like when they change the events, it's pretty obvious. Like with Clayton, that's changed the events, and it's really nice to see how it can be different from the movie. But when you get reenactments from the movie that really should have made it as close as possible toward the movie, because it doesn't make any sense that Esmeralda being burned alive with nobody being around. To me, at least. And yeah, just one minor problem, and Drop Dream Distance really causes it. It's really bad at this. I mean, in some stories where Sora only gets like one part of the movie, or in some other story, and like in one of the other worlds, Riku only gets one part of the movie, and it's not even really a major part. The fact that he like stopped the, like Riku just stopped the trap from happening in the movie, and that supposedly hurts Sora, while Sora literally gets from beginning to end of the game, from the movie. While in Pinocchio's, it's only near the end of the game, and actually at Tron Legacy, Sora gets to really drop the ball on that one, where he only gets one scene where Riku gets beginning to end of the movie. Drop Dream Distance, in my opinion, wasn't really the best game. And sure, its ending is also very confusing, and the story is confusing as well, with some plot holes. Which, why? Why did just... And you know what else? I'm just gonna make a spoiler alert. Xehanort, the main bad guy of Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep and Kingdom Hearts Drop Dream Distance, literally had everything planned out. And this is one problem I have with Drop Dream Distance. Everything from Kingdom Hearts 1, from Birth by Sleep to all the way to Drop Dream Distance, happened because Xehanort planned it. Oh my god, that was terrible. That was a terrible choice for Square Enix, I believe, is making the game, to make. And the reason for that is that I feel like that all this stuff, the crap I put up in Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 was for nothing. Nothing at all. Especially considering on how Ansem is now back, and he's not even... You know, Ansem came back in the second game, but he was that's only because he was a force of Riku's darkness. But in this one, they brought him back, and he's no longer a force of Riku's darkness, and it was just terribly done. I mean, if Xemnas just happened to come back, and this would make it a lot more sense that if he just happened to come back, he just comes up with another plan to get the X-Blade or the Master Keyblade. But for him to plan out all of the events, why would you plan out your own death while you're planning? That makes no sense to me. And just really, why? It was really dumb on Square Enix's part. Like, if he failed, he admitted he failed, and then he came up with a new plan. Or he was able to find out through his death, through some research, through like his Nobody or Dark or Heartless, that he could find another way to recreate the X-Blade. But having it all planned out didn't make much sense. And then you get like the multiple Xemnas, like the new Organization 13, a bunch of Xemnas from different time periods. Okay, that sounds weird on its own, and honestly, if it wasn't for this next part I'm going to say, I would be mad at it. But how he does it is also stupid. Like, going back in time, you need to have a body in yourself that you can go back in with. So meaning that you have to be living in that time period, in that place, in order to go back to it. Okay, that's nice. Then explain Timeless River. That's just a plot hole. There's no way around it. I mean, did Sora even live around the time of Timeless River? I doubt even Donald and Goofy were living around that time when Timeless River takes place. And it's just a massive plot hole that it just happens. And you know what? You even go back in time within Drop Dream Distance. I mean, granted, during the Three Musketeer one, you can probably say, you know what? Actually, you can say in any one of them that Sora was a kid or something. Yeah. Okay, no, it's not much of a plot hole in Drop Dream Distance, but in Timeless River, it's a massive plot hole. it ignored the events of it. I mean, did the door just break the laws of time travel? I mean, Xemnas himself even said that you have to follow this in order to do this, in order to travel through time. And it just... Drop Dream Distance out of all the Kingdom Hearts games was the least well done out of them all. Out of all of them, 3, 4, 6, 5 games, they should have came out later after Drop Dream Distance, and any other mention where they mention Shield. I mean, in Recoded, I believe that came out before 3, 5, 6 days. But it's honestly, I'd rather have Shield be much more of a mystery, have the game be made later on after Drop Dream Distance, because she's much more of a mystery then. And it just, the decisions are a bit lacking, and you know, it's like they honestly still try and make her look like a mystery to us as well. Like in Recoded, they honestly say they don't recognize her, they don't know who she is, that she's Shion. And when Riku first meets her, he doesn't know her, and that makes sense. No, wait, no, it doesn't. Oh wait, their memory were erased. That's right. But at the same time, it's just like, I don't really understand the decisions they made with this. Anyway, the more I play the Kingdom Hearts games, the more it's like this. It's good on the rise up, which was Kingdom Hearts 1, Chain of Memories, and Kingdom Hearts 2. Then around here, it started going down. Like, Kingdom Hearts 3, 4, 5, 6 days wasn't as fun as Kingdom Hearts 2 or Kingdom Hearts 1, but it's still good. And Kingdom Hearts Recoded is not as good as 3, 4, 5, 6 days over 2. And if I had to make an educated guess, I'm thinking that it's just going to keep on going downhill. And Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep looks like one of the more funner games because, yeah, you get to play as 3 people. You even get a Disney print that doesn't just stand around and do nothing. I gotta say though, with the new Kingdom Hearts games for the 3D, Kingdom Hearts 3D, it just, it doesn't look that good to me, and I honestly do not plan on getting it ever. Even if I do get a 3DS, I do not plan on getting the game. It just doesn't look that fun to me. And the story has contradictions, and it kind of takes most of the part of what I liked about Kingdom Hearts and takes it away. I mean, some of the commands, like you can literally fly around. I mean, they did introduce things like I like a new area in Traverse Town that you never see. I like that when you do that. But that's only in Traverse Town and nowhere else. Perfectly honest, it's just that part of the Kingdom Hearts is like when you look around these areas and find places that you know. And when the places are relatively extremely boring, like the Hunchback of Notre Dame or Pinocchio, or in Pinocchio where you only get one area to explore in the movie, it's just not really, in my opinion, worth getting. Like, it's the same in Monstro and Kingdom Hearts 1, but at least they did it pretty well with at least including that Pinocchio world destroyed. But it's really just not that good of a game in my opinion. I've never played it. My friend says it has fun gameplay, but it really doesn't look that fun to me. And that's my review of the Kingdom Hearts series so far. What do I think about Kingdom Hearts 3? The fact that it's going to be out for the next gen PS4. I mean, honestly, why did every game that wasn't part of that wasn't going to have a main title like Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 are the only main console games, every other one's a handheld, besides Chain of Memories? Why didn't they make like a Re 4, 5, 6 Days over 2 for the PS3? I mean, that would be really interesting. But they don't. And seriously, there are some lacking stuff in the Kingdom Hearts universe. Like most of the side games that aren't really just that don't have 1 or 2 in the title, really just drop the ball with the handheld sometimes. Like, some of these games would have been better on the handheld. Like, Recoded would have been a lot better if it was... Not on handheld, on a console. Recoded would have been a lot better if it was on a console game, I can tell you that much. I would love it more. While other ones like 3, 4, 5, 6 Days Over 2, they would have to really redo the whole thing, which honestly I find it to be pretty well for the handheld. Anyway, that's my overall review of this story. In about 40 minutes and about getting cut off around 20 minutes, I think I'm done here. Anyway, see you guys next time.